All right.
Totally did.
Cool. So we'll get things started. My name is Anthony, and I am the regional cybersecurity sales manager for the Bay Area. And I'm partnered here with Dave.
The solutions engineer for the Bay Area. We focus mainly in cybersecurity, where we're helping our customers from email to network to endpoints to cloud. So a lot out there.
Yeah. Today we're going to be talking mostly about how to become risk resilient with the Vision One platform, which I know you guys are here to learn a little bit more about today. So that's what we'll be diving into. So this is a high-level overview of what Trend Micro has shifted to today. It's our Trend Micro Vision One platform. And we have made a shift from not only just individual point products and solutions and a long ways from 35 years ago, just focusing on AV, right? And now we have a cybersecurity platform called Trend Micro Vision One, right? As you can see, on the base and the foundation of our services and our products is our global threat intelligence and our threat research, right? So there is a zero-day initiative that we are pioneers in, I would say. The zero-day initiative is we have about 10,000 independent researchers that are looking for vulnerabilities out in the wild, I guess you could say. And when they find these vulnerabilities, we pay them for finding it, and then we provide virtual patches for our customers that have these vulnerabilities, oftentimes before the vendors release them. Why is that important? Faster protection for our customers, so that they are not left in the dark, right? So we are the #1 leader in this vulnerability disclosure. And this is what we're talking a little bit about, the virtual patching that you guys had questions on, so that we could be on top of the next threat, right? So this is our foundation, and then what we have today is all these different key categories. So email, endpoint, cloud, network, and OT security. Each of these categories, we're recognized as a leader from either Gartner or Forrester or some of the other top ones as well. And all these can act as different sensors which lead into our XDR platform, right? So Trend Micro is unique in the sense that, we have all these are natively built by us. So customers are able to correlate how a threat may be coming in through email, how is it impacted the endpoint, is it coming through the network, is it impacting your OT application or OT environment as well. If you're using cloud today, like AWS or Azure, how is that impacting, from an AWS standpoint, like a VPC or your S3 buckets or things of that nature, Azure Blobs. I think you guys said you use Azure, right? And being able to tie all of that together. We're making lots of investments in this space, and how we're able to stay ahead of the ever-changing threat landscape too, right? Additionally, on the top, you can see that we have this attack surface risk management. Attack surface risk management is a new term that we've pioneered in the help of Gartner, and it's all about being able to understand what your attack surface looks like, and
Now, from the attack surface, we're talking about your endpoint, your environment. So let's say you have somebody come in, plug in a laptop. Well, that's part of your environment now, right? As part of another thing to keep in mind, the ZDI program and Global Threat Research is where we come out with 60% of vulnerability disclosures out there. Right now, that's more than any other the next two combined. Right, and all of that research, because of our 400 researchers in-house, which is the most in the industry, and our independent researchers, we come up with all these virtual patches, research around how threats are acting, how bad actors are acting, and it goes all into the Vision One platform. So customers are aware of their environment before an attack happens, right? Where are my loopholes, right? So that's what we're going to get into in the next few slides.
Right. And when combining both the XDR and the attack surface risk management together, it reinforces this zero trust architecture. So just to kind of break it down a little bit more, we have XDR, which is on the right side, and then ASRM, or attack surface risk management, on the left. XDR is all about being reactive and understanding where the breach took place, how severe is it, what do we got to do to clean it up.
So XDR is more like something has happened already, and like a PDF has opened already. I need to go in and diffuse the situation.
Right. And then attack surface management is more proactive. So some of the proactive measures are discovering, assessing, and mitigating the risk. And we're going to get into, I guess, a little bit about how you could prioritize your, your vulnerabilities as well, so that you could understand where to allocate your time, so that it's most, so that you're putting more effort into the things that are most important to you and how that can impact your risk in your organization.
Perfect. So here you can see, I'm going to talk more about around proactiveness, right? So we want to stop something from happening, right? And that's all around proactiveness, around your identity. So who's logging in where, right? Do they have the most up-to-date password, right? Is there a password on the dark web, right? That's part of identity, right? We're looking at vulnerability, so devices that have the biggest vulnerabilities, right? We prioritize them with a risk. Hey, this vulnerability is high risk, so your device is high risk, right? Your device might have multiple logins from the users that you don't know about. That's high risk, right? Going down to your attack surface risk management, we're prioritizing all of this with risk, right? So you get a big score over risk, which we'll see in the next slide. And how do I bring that score down, right? The higher the score, the bigger the risk you have, right? So we can go to the next slide from here. Here is a quick overview of what the platform looks like, right? You have a big score up here, right? You can see you have 17 vulnerabilities, right? You also see some system configurations that we might need to work on, right? So you're looking at a platform from an overview of your environment saying, hey, my risk score is too high, right? I want to bring that down. Well, how do I bring that down? Do you have your risk reduction measures, right? I need to looks like system configuration. Something's going on with my system configuration. Maybe behavior monitoring is not turned on, right? Behavior monitoring is part of those things that if a ransomware tries to spread, it tries to encrypt files, right? So that's a behavior that's happening. If your system configuration is telling you that's not turned on, you are likely to be have ransomware in your environment, right? Or vulnerabilities. We have OS vulnerabilities, right? Not only are we going to show you OS vulnerabilities, but also application vulnerabilities. Right? Let's say you have Outlook, like I had a customer yesterday that has 2013 Outlook on 20 computers. Like, well, we all moved to 2016 already, or even we're using O365 now. So like, what is the 2013 doing? Well, IT didn't do their job. Like that happens, right? But the fact is that they wouldn't have known about this until they came in and saw that, hey, we have a lot of vulnerabilities going on in my environment, right? And now what we're trying to do is have this connected with other third-party products so that we can ingest information from them, right? So we got network coming in. So as I talked about, hey, this is a laptop right here. He's connected to your Wi-Fi. This is an environment. This is part of your environment now. If this computer has different vulnerabilities, well, a attacker might be able to use this, right? So that's part of what we're going to see in the next slide.
Before we do that, I just wanted to make a comment that, I was at our HQ and we were lucky enough to have a customer come in. He's a CISO of a global organization that has like 22 different companies or subsidiaries, let's say, within them. And they just acquired a new company. And obviously, what risk does that bring on to the parent company as they acquire this new organization? So this is actually projected in the CISO's office, and he looks at it every day on the wall, and he looks at the risk score, the risk index score, and say, did it go up today? Did it go down today? And why? And that's all he really cares about as a CISO. And then what he's able to do is print out these reports to his board and say, hey, look, over the past like 3 months, we did X, Y, and Z. This is how our score went down. And it's a real tool for him to have more like impactful conversations with his board. Additionally, he's able to delegate to each of those 22 organizations what they need to be focusing on in the next 3, 6, 12 months. So based off of the risk profile scores, and also the risk that comes out as they bring on these new companies is they're constantly acquiring new businesses, right? So it's definitely a really helpful tool, especially higher up the food chain as well.
And here is a great example of something plugged in your environment. You can see from an asset graph that, hey, I have a computer. Who's logging into those computer? If that computer is talking to other computers, if the person who's logging into this computer has other computers that they log into, right? This is a great example of, I had a customer the other day said, I have a employee that, and we saw that their information was leaked on the dark web, right? We saw that from the previous slide. There's identity, part of it. We can see that it's leaked on the, right? So, well, that's fine. We went in and reset their password. You could do that from this console itself. You don't have to go into like an AD to do that, right? For your SOC or for your IT group, it might be important to have all-in-one platform where, hey, I see this now, I want to reset the password right now, right? But then again, the question is, well, who's impacted, right? Did they log into just one computer or did they log into multiple computers, right? So now we're able to see that they logged into multiple computers. Not only that they logged into multiple computers, well, did that computer go to any other computers, right? Well, maybe this computer is not supposed to be talking to this other computer. Why are they talking, right? So again, giving you more visibility into the platform and figuring out what's important to you and giving you that risk score so that you can come in and proactively say, hey, I want to make sure that this link does not happen, or these few users do not ever log into this computer, right? That's proactively going in and doing something about it. Right?
How fast will Vision One react to this?
The Vision One will, today there is a 4 hours up until it will update this graph,
Okay.
right? But to take the response action, like let's say resetting a password or disabling a user, that's immediate.
Okay.
Right? So we are working towards bringing this down to like an hour or a customer setting it by themselves. But that is something that we're looking into.
Okay.
And then we were talking about, hey, looking at third-party ingesting, right? We're also giving information to third parties. So I was talking to them about, hey, if you have a firewall, right? Let's connect your firewall into Vision One. If you put anything in a block list, it automatically updates the firewall, right? So, hey, I found a bad URL. I saw this employee going to this bad URL. I'm going to put this in my block list. Well, why don't we update the firewall? Now the firewall has the same block list, and if any other employee tries to go there, the firewall will block it, right? Not only the agent will block it, but also the firewall will block it, right? And this is also great for, let's say you have a ticketing system, right? You see workbenches come in, workbenches will be like, hey, suspicious activity happening, right? Well, you can create a ticket and assign it to somebody, right? All from one platform. so that you don't have to go into multiple different platforms. Say, hey, let me write this ticket, right? You can do this all, and it's all automatic, right? So that's one of the things, and connecting to your AD, connecting to getting your identity and so forth in is going to be very important going down the road.
Something that I wanted to add as well is even if you don't own any Trend Micro products, you could still use Vision One and connect all of your different services or your initial investments that you've made to start correlating this data.
Yep. And again, we're processing so many logs, right? From endpoint, email to network, right? We're trying to create that picture of suspicious activity happening in your environment, right? And there's a lot of AI and machine learning that happens in the back end to keep your false positives down, right? Because the worst thing you want to do is like, hey, this is really important to me. I'm going to go in and research this while something else is happening behind your back, right? So
yeah, I just wanted to point on this is an example of one company just across 7 days. They got over 1.25 billion alerts, and they only had 1,000 devices, right? So from 1,000 devices, we were able to narrow down using, different techniques and AI and stuff that Dave was talking about, just down to on average, like 1 to 2 alerts from 1.25. So we're making sure that the alerts that you are receiving are ones that truly need your attention.
Right. So this is a reactive side, right? So I talked about the proactive side, looking at things beforehand, before they're happening. Now the reactive side is, hey, I see this, I'm going to go in and do something about it.
Right. So G2 is a company that goes in and asks for customers' feedback based off of their experience using different tools, right? Trend Micro XDR is recognized as like the top right leader for XDR platforms. There's not one out yet today for the proactive side, the attack surface discovery, because it is, so new. It's something that we're pioneering in. But from the XDR side, our customer satisfaction is through the roof. I think it's a 4.7 stars with like thousands of reviews. So customers are definitely enjoying it, and they see us definitely as a leader in this space. Let's take like a real world example. An outside company called ESG did an analysis on a company that has 2,000 employees. The company was using ad hoc security tools, and what they found is once they turned on Trend Micro Vision One and was able to consolidate the dozens of tools that they were using into one platform and a single pane of glass, they saw a 63% reduction in their cost, factoring in like the efficiency of like the full-time employee, virus, malware, exposure to risk, the likelihood of a breach, and so on, and many other categories as well. And then once they also enabled our managed XDR, which is our 24/7 service that we could provide, they saw an even additional amount of savings to a 79% reduction in overall.
Yeah, managed XDR is going to be more around. Trend is going to be a partner into looking in your environment 24/7.
Yeah.
Right? They are looking at through logs, raw logs. They're looking through telemetry and seeing if any behavior is happening on the network, on the email, on endpoint, and doing proactively going in and saying, hey, we're going to go ahead and isolate this computer. It's 2 a.m, customer's not on, they're sleeping. We're going to go ahead and isolate this computer because they know security is up at most par, right? Additionally, combining in different, I would say, features, right? With attack surface risk management, we combine in vulnerabilities, right? So you can see all your vulnerabilities all in one place, right? So now customers are like, well, I can see vulnerabilities. I had other products that did vulnerability scan. I might not need that anymore because one agent will do it all, right? So that's also where they're saving down on cost.
Mm-hmm. I have a company that I serve, big organization, couple thousand employees. I'm allowed to use their name, Educational Employees Credit Union, based in Fresno, and they were using Cisco in addition to Trend Micro for their endpoints, and we were able to show them like how we could consolidate their costs, and we saved them a couple $100,000 when it came to consolidating and using Vision One. Yeah. So we asked our customers in the enterprise space, like, what are some of your biggest challenges from like a VP level and up? And they shared that operational costs are high, with all the different tools that they're using. And we've helped reduce that cost by 79%. And also, Vision One has helped improve response time because of the added visibility, attacker dwell time, reducing the amount of repeat threats, and that comes into the picture with attack surface discovery, improving investigation speed by about 54%, and also the alert fatigue, as we were talking about earlier, with taking billions of threats into one or two. So these are just some of like the, I'm more of like a numbers guy, so that's why I like to share this slide, and I like to see, okay, what's the data as to how we're actually, on average, like reducing the amount of money spent, time spent, resources spent to our customers, and I think that's part of the reason why our customers rave about, Vision One, and it's because of things like this, right? So.
Yeah, one of the things I would point out is that alert fatigue.
Yeah.
I have a lot of customers that might have those point products. There's so many of them have a SIM, so many alerts coming into the SIM. A lot of manual process to not only have rules in the SIM, but also look at those alerts, right? So Vision One will come in and say, you don't need to look at so many rules. We have created the rules for you already. Look at these rules. These are suspicious activities happening in your environment, right? So instead of having one or two engineers just looking at logs all the time, now you can have one engineer actually proactively going in and fixing things, right? Instead of just looking at logs. So that alert fatigue is definitely real out there.
Yeah. Also, we have additional services that can be sold through KIS called Service One Complete. With Service One Complete, we're able to augment your security team with 24/7 eyes on your environment, even for small organizations that may not have the headcount that they need. They'd find benefit with this, as well as large organizations with 1,000 employees or 1,000 employee dedicated SOC teams could still find value in this, because oftentimes they don't have the expertise and the knowledge that Trend Micro has, and the visibility and the resources that our support teams have to manage their environment and also stay ahead of the threat landscape. Additionally, we do have red teaming services and incident response plans that come along with this. So it comes with 40 hours, so that's like about a week, or it is a week, of our time. We're gonna, as soon as we see something, we're gonna ship out a DDI box, which is our network deep discovery inspector. Yeah. And we're gonna have our whole forensics team all over your company's environment, and understanding what we got to do to clean up that breach. The city of San Jose is one of my customers as well, and they experienced a CVE, and the CISO called me up and said, like, hey, we need help. Like, are we protected? That's all he wanted to know. And we were able to ship him one of those deep discovery inspector boxes and overnight it to him, and then was able to clean it up very quickly.
Yeah, I would say over there, the IR service is amazing. All the logs and so forth do come into our backend. They have an eye on it. Another customer of mine had Mimikatz in their environment, known for ransomware, right? Spreading. Customer didn't know about it. IR team reached out to me. We reached out to the customer. We got involved. They only used up about 8 hours of IR. Now they still have the rest of the 40 hours remaining, right? For them to go in and do any other IR services, right? Additionally, the red teaming is great. where they'll go in and see what loopholes you have in your company.
Ethically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, of course, we're going to handhold you through the onboarding experience too of any of the products, right? So I know that, just like show of hands, like, I guess for the customers in the room, like, do you guys have any other vendors that you work with that help you with cybersecurity at all, insurance?
Are you guys using cybersecurity?
We do have insurance.
You do?
Yeah.
Do any of the vendors like help you navigate that?
I don't think so. We basically just feed our, no, so when we go on and buy insurance,
Mm-hmm.
they have questionnaires and then we just,
Mm-hmm.
You just fill it out and submit it.
yeah.
Yeah, it's getting harder and harder with those questionnaires.
Yeah.
Last time I had a customer like, here's a 4-page questionnaire. Like, okay, this is very difficult for them to navigate, right? We have a team that will come in, look at those questionnaires, say like, okay, yeah, you are actually protected here, 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 right?
They'll check the boxes with you and make sure that you're not missing anything.
Yep.
Okay.
And Vision One helps check off a lot of those boxes as well, to help, you know, reduce your risk and then therefore make it more appealing to attain the cyber insurance, right? Yeah.
So this is the add-on service, right?
No, it's not an add-on service. It actually is complimentary. We have a dedicated individual for the Bay Area who will sit down with you and run through your cyber insurance application and help you and guide you to say like, hey, like these are the boxes that you could help check. These are the ones that you know, if you wanted to, I could hop on the phone too and say like, oh, with Vision One, like this is what we could help also check off to make sure you're meeting the cyber insurance requirements.
What is that, the bridge?
Yeah, so Breach Connect is my next point. They have, it's a way for, if you don't have a breach coach today, so if you do have a breach, like we have, there's a dedicated application that'll help you guide yourself through it, through the breach itself. It's currently 50% off.
A lot of times what I've seen is customers don't have like an IR plan.
Yeah.
Something happens, what do I do? Who do I call? How do I secure?
Right.
So that breach plan is going to give you like an IR plan.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then also with our incident response plan with the Service One, it could, you know, you could use it as a default in the event of a breach, so that you have a plan in place in case something happens.
Can we get the red team service when we have the bridge? I mean, if things happen, can we get that?
Typically,
On
You
the
need to
breach
buy
side
it.
of things, it would be the IR service that you would want. Come in and secure. The IR team will have their IR plan, and they will share that with you, and they will tell you exactly what to do, how to do it. Where
I
to
think it
secure.
would be done as a test
Yeah.
of your environment to see where the gaps are.
Okay.
Red team is more proactive, like, hey, these are the gaps in your environment.
right.
Okay.
Yeah, and oops. And then on our last slide, we have a QR code. We're giving away 28,000 free credits for you to test out. It could be any of the services or like attack surface discovery. Like I said, you don't have to have any of the products today. You could still turn it on and understand by enabling some of your initial investments, you know, where your risk could potentially lie. And then also with Vision One as well. So yeah, we're happy to walk you through that if you're interested. And that's the end of our presentation.
Great.
Thank you.